Oh my god. Oh yeah, she also likes to play with these. All right, give me a check. Check 1, 2, check.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
You gotta scrunch in. You want to be in the shot, yeah?
Yeah.
Does it have my fat face?
Your face isn't
Fat face. Okay, you're on.
We're starting? Is it happening?
Welcome to the Bunk Room Chats podcast.
Are we recording?
We are.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
Hold on. Okay, go. All right.
Okay. Welcome to the Bunk Room Chat. Stop it. Okay.
Poop.
Welcome to the Bunk Room Chats podcast, episode 3. I am Elaina, also known as Betty.
And I am Tim, also known as Tim.
Or Conrad, which I'll call you Conrad. So last time we kind of finished up talking about our stories, and this episode we wanted to talk about self-care.
It seemed like a natural progression from where we were.
Absolutely, and self-care is a big deal, especially in what we do.
That's first responders.
Being first responders, yeah, it's definitely something that a lot of us struggle with is proper self-care. So let me ask you, what does
Oh my goodness. I'm ready.
what what does self-care mean to you?
Self-care. Should I give the answer that you gave before we started recording? It's caring for yourself.
Okay, I was being a smartass though. But that is, making sure that you are cared for, that you're healthy, mind, body, and spirit.
Yeah.
But what is your definition?
Well, I think it's evolved a lot over time. I didn't have a very good self-care ritual in the beginning of my career. And yeah, I flat out didn't take care of myself. Mind, body, and soul. Like all
I
of
said
it.
spirit, mind, body, and spirit.
Yeah, all of it.
Yeah.
And that did not do me any justice because I, of course, as we've heard or talked about in previous episodes, I wound up in an inpatient substance abuse rehab center.
Yeah.
So self-care, I've kind of learned that it there's a lot to it, and it's all preferential to what it is that you like to do. So not everybody's into journaling, right? But that is one that you're always going to find. And when I was at the rehab center, I journaled. They had all of us journal each day just to do something new, different in your routine that you wouldn't normally do at home. And I actually liked it when I was there. I carried it on for a little bit when I got home, but I don't journal anymore unless something really cool happens. But we usually document it in other ways.
I don't journal like I used to. I used to journal all the time, but now I just use this little app. I think it's called Happy Feed, and I log one good thing that happened every day and put a picture. And usually it's a picture of my son because he's always my one good thing. And you can export. It's kind of cool. You can export everything, so you can look through all your happy moments. And I try not to write anything bad because I want it to be.
It's a journal of sorts.
It is. It's supposed to be kind of like a journal, but I would like to get back into legit journaling because it is helpful. I struggle with finding the time to sit down and
I
write things out.
I do too. It's tough I mean, and that's kind of what we're going to get into
Yeah.
today with self-care, is because you've got to be able to take the time to do that. And
Prioritize that. Yeah.
that kind of answers the question that you asked originally, is like, what is it to me? It's prioritizing yourself and knowing that that's not selfish, but it's going to make you a better person for your family, for your loved ones, significant others, whoever.
But I think that's hard for anybody. But I think for parents, for first responders, that's very difficult, and we'll get into that. And then I think to add another layer onto it is also you're a parent. That makes it even harder because you're away for a lot longer. It's not a typical 9 to 5.
Right.
So you're gone for sometimes days at a time.
Yeah.
And you come home and it feels like if I take this time for myself, then I'm taking time away, taking very limited time away from my child.
Yeah.
So it's hard. I think it's hard to find that
But on
balance.
the other side of the coin, do you ever find yourself coming home and realizing how precious those moments are, that it just has to be perfect?
Oh yeah.
And you
Oh
wind up
yeah.
blowing it or doing something wrong or getting
Yeah.
upset and ruining the evening because you're trying to worry too much about it being
Mhm.
perfect because it's so short
Yeah.
comparatively to our work schedules.
Yeah, and I think I at least I don't want to say anyone else does this, but I feel like I also kind of unintentionally put that on my son because that expectation of and then I get more disappointed if and he's 2, so he's going to act out. He's going to do his own thing. But then if I have such a small amount of time with him and it doesn't go exactly the way that I was hoping, there's that disappointment. So I put that expectation without meaning to, not just on myself, but on him. So it leads to more frustration when it doesn't go, the way that you're hoping.
Yeah. And that is exactly the way to put it. The frustration reigns supreme
Yeah.
and you just wind up shitting up the whole evening. I
Yeah.
do that all the time. Just ask my wife.
And the thing too is that, in what we do, we literally our entire lives is putting other people before ourselves.
Yeah.
That's everything we do is, we are there for other people. So it kind of feels like that's just a way of life for us now. It just kind of becomes
It is.
like part of your personality. You
It
kind of
is.
take that on as like,
It's it's in the oath we take
yeah.
um, when we get pinned. Now this podcast is meant for all first responders. We're both firefighters and EMTs, but I mean the same goes with cops. I've talked with cops while we're on calls. We run with them quite frequently, and about their schedules, their work lives, and what it's like when they get home. I've gotten to talk with a bunch of folks about this very topic because it became so big to me
Mhm.
after rehab, and I learned a lot about what I was doing wrong. Um, One of the biggest things, if you want to get into, or straight away, uh, one of the biggest things that they tell you to do, and that you really have to force yourself to do. I do. I have to force myself to check in with myself, and that's a big one. Um, I don't know of any therapist or counseling or counselor, excuse me, that you would go to and not hear them talk about checking in with yourself
Yeah.
regularly.
But I also think that we can kind of use avoidance of checking in as like an excuse. I'm too busy to do that. I'm working too much to check in. Checking in is not something, it's not a priority.
I just outright am blind to it a lot of times. Um, and I think everything's hunky dory, everything's great because I'm always. You've known me for how long? Several
6
years.
years? Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm one of the most upbeat guys,
Yeah.
right? Like always got a smile on, always joking around with the guys, always constantly trying to bring others up, telling jokes. It's just fun. It's a fun environment, work, and we can have a lot of fun there in between the serious. which you kind of have to do.
Yeah.
But on when I come home, I'm still the same guy. Like I'm still fun, but I have to put on a different face. I'm not firefighter Conrad. I'm dad
Yeah.
or husband, Tim. I'm not Conrad. I'm Tim. Your significant other is also in the fire service.
Yeah.
He works with me actually in my department. We were on shift together for a good while, and he gets it. He knows the schedule. He knows what it is we do. You can go home and you can talk about calls you ran, and it makes complete sense to
Yeah.
him.
You don't have to explain anything. You don't have to.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't really have that. Like my wife is always willing to listen, and she wants to learn, and but it is so difficult, and it's nothing against her. It's nothing against anybody, because I have this problem with therapists too,
Mm.
where you spend half your session explaining what it is that you do,
Yeah.
and it just becomes kind of exhausting. And I feel like I'm boring them, or I'm boring my wife with all of the constant, well, this means that, and that means this, and you kind of have to know this because this now makes sense. And so, yeah, I mean, bless her, she does listen. She listens to me, even if I just have to blow off some steam from a call or blow off some steam from working too much, getting held over. There's a lot of aspects of the firefighting job, or first responders as a whole, even the military gets called into action, or weekend duty, um, from time to time, and who knows, you could wind up overseas at any point.
Yeah.
So like when you want to come home and just have a bitch fit about work, like anybody would. Anybody that works a regular 9 to 5 comes home and bitches about the Anderson
Yeah.
account, and that's when you're checking in. That's when you're allowing emotions in. You're allowing them to surface, and you're allowing them out to another human being.
I think a lot of times it's difficult to talk about the frustrations at work because a lot of times they're call related. At least for me, there's you run some stuff that's difficult, traumatic, and a lot of people don't want to hear about that, or they're like, "Oh, that's disgusting. Oh, that's gross. I don't want to."
Yeah.
Um, so I think a lot of us kind of get used to not talking about that stuff. I think you kind of go on a lot of those calls and then you just kind of push it down and say, okay, what's the next thing, and move on. And also, to be honest, especially if you're working a 36 or a 48, by the time you get home, that really shitty call that you ran the morning before, it's not gone for sure, but it's like, why am I going to talk about it now? It's like
Yeah.
I ran how many calls since then.
So, but I mean, and I don't want folks at home to think that we go to work every 3 days and see just the
No, it's not all the time.
illest of shit. Uh,
I mean, I've seen some stuff.
it's
We've seen some stuff together.
Yeah, but it's not every single time.
No.
We're talking about calls that grip you for years to
Yeah.
come. Those are few and far between.
Yeah.
Thankfully, you don't run those every time you go to work.
Correct.
But there is the potential to run something truly awful. I think I mentioned it in another episode or previous episode how much pediatric calls fuck me up now.
Yeah.
Because I had a kid, and I used to have no problem doing those, and now my heart melts, and I can't function the same way because I just think it, or I look at it through whole new eyes.
Yep.
So when we talk about self-care, I really don't feel like we've touched on anything. I mean, we've kind of danced around some subjects, but I started with checking in and how bad I am at that. How do you feel? Are you any good at it?
I think
And do you know what I'm talking about? Like,
kind of
just
checking in
taking a
on how
minute
you,
to, how do I actually feel right now? Am I depressed? Am I sad? Am I angry? Is everything fine?
I think that I'm good at being able to identify those things. I'm not good at being able to do anything about them, if that makes sense. So I can tell you, hey, I'm really depressed. Like I feel like I'm falling into depression. I can tell you that. But I at that point will not do a single thing to help myself. You know, like
But
I'll just
you can put eyes on it though.
yes,
You can
yes,
see that's
I
a
can
I feel
identify
like
that within myself.
I
Yes.
feel like that's a step ahead of me. Well, my wife is always the first one to know when something's bothering me or when my depression is acting up again because we with depression meds you do have to be constantly
Adjusting and
adjusting and taking care of.
monitoring. Yeah.
So along with meds are just a tool
Yeah.
in the toolbox. Like they don't work for everybody. Not everybody's into taking meds every day. I'm into whatever tools I can grasp hold of and put into my toolbox that I know work
Yeah.
and can be utilized down the road. Check-ins, like I've been saying, has never been my thing, but luckily I have a wife that checks in for me.
Yeah.
She knows when shit's going wrong with me or when I just seem off. And a lot of that has to do with on the job stuff. Is it the traumatic calls all the time? Not for me.
No, it's not. I don't think it's not always going to be that. I think there's a fatigue that sets in. That's not just
Exactly.
it's not just that you're tired from lack of sleep, which you are, but it's also the fatigue of repetition, doing the what feels like the exact same thing over and over and over and over again.
Which could be argued that that's any job.
Correct. Yeah.
But with ours, I mean, you do get to go into work not knowing what that day is going to
Yeah.
bring. The idea of going to work might be the same, but no 2 days are alike in the
That's
fire
also true.
service.
But I think it's more of like I don't know. Sometimes, how do I put this nicely?
I don't know.
I think sometimes we don't always deal with the nicest of people.
I was wondering who you were going to be mean to.
we a lot of people are very nice. A lot of patients are very nice.
For those of you that don't know, Elaina is referring to our patients
Our
on
patients,
the ambulance.
yes, yes. A lot of our patients are amazing. I mean, we're there on their worst or one of their worst days.
Sure.
You know, and I've had a lot of patients who are considering their circumstances super nice. Very very nice, very grateful, very but then you're gonna have patients and just regular people who will yell at you, cuss you out, you know.
Well, there's outliers of folks that may not have been the one that called
Correct.
911,
Yes.
but a concerned family member or friend did,
Yeah.
and now you're thrust into a situation where, hey, we're just here to help.
Yeah.
Like
Or
yeah,
like the neighbor who's mad that that your siren was on at,
Yeah.
2 a.m, or why are
it's
you?
it's again any job,
Yep.
any 9 to 5,
True.
any job. There's
You're gonna
drama.
deal with people that are not the
There's
nicest.
high school drama. There's people just acting a fool,
Yep.
and people just being mean. Karens. Is that offensive?
I don't think so. I think that's like a term now.
Cool. I'm gonna keep it in.
No, but I think more of what I'm saying is there's a general fatigue that sets in of the job itself.
It's called burnout,
Yeah.
and that is a very common term for again most any job
Mhm.
or most anything for that matter.
Mhm.
You can get burnout on taking care of the kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
That's true.
You can get burnout on going on vacation all the fucking time.
Well, I would like that kind of burnout. I think that sounds great.
I'll bet you it happens though.
Yeah. But I think that's why people always say take a break.
Yeah. But
And
can you?
But that's a difficult thing because you can't always take a break. Just like you can't necessarily take a break from being a parent, you can't like depending on your situation. I know with my schedule, I really can't. Like my break is going to work. That's it.
Yeah.
And then I come back home and I take care of my son.
That is a joke that circulates quite frequently around the firehouses. That even at the busiest firehouse, I come here to relax.
Well, sometimes taking care of a 2-year-old is more stressful than going to work.
It can be.
Sometimes
It can
it
be.
is. Yeah.
But it's not a bad thing. Like you can get burnout being anywhere,
Yep.
and everybody does, and it's not a horrible thing. But you do have to be cognizant of it, and that is again where those check-ins come in, and you got to evaluate how much you're working because it's very easy to happen in this line of work because your one shift for for us is 24 hours. Fair?
Yep.
I mean, it's not for every firefighter, but here or the schedules that we work, yours is a little bit different
Mhm.
than mine, but I work a 24 on 48 off schedule. So every third day, 1/3 of my life is spent at the firehouse for 30 years. That's crazy to think. And then we work overtime on top of it, which couldn't be another 24 hours before they make us go home. We have to, when we hit 48 hours, it's in our policies that we have to go home for 12 hours of rest before we can work again. That doesn't mean you can't go work another job, though.
Correct. Yeah.
You just can't work at the firehouse.
Yeah. And most people that I know have multiple jobs, including myself.
Yeah, I did all through my 20s.
Yeah.
My first 10 years of my career, I had up to 4 jobs at one point.
Yeah.
It's just making money when you're young, socking it away, so you don't have to drive yourself that crazy now. You sock it away early, and it's a very common thing for firefighters to have second jobs, sometimes third jobs.
Yeah.
And you're just burning the candle at both ends, especially if you're at a busy station,
Yeah.
because you're just not getting sleep. And that is the Super Bowl. That is the biggest thing of first responders deal with. That is the biggest crutch to our mental health.
Lack of sleep.
Lack of sleep,
Yeah.
sleep deprivation. And we were talking briefly before we started recording this one, and I was telling you how I can feel it on a daily basis that I probably have a sleep debt of 5 years.
Yeah. And yeah, and it's not just, I want to clarify too, because it's not just that you're not sleeping. It's, I think there's three components to it. There's, you don't get to quality sleep because you're constantly aware that
Yep.
you're going to be awakened by a call.
You could
So
be called to service at
any
time.
time. So you're not in real REM sleep. So your body never relaxes. That's the first thing. The second thing is you're awakened with a jolt dramatically, mostly multiple times in the night.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not restful. So even if you sleep for 3-4 hours, but then you're awakened 2-3 times, that's not restful sleep. None of that is restful.
Right.
And then there's the last one, which is there are some nights you don't sleep at all. I mean, my last shift, we were up all night long, like literally all night. And I mean, I didn't see my bed. I made my bed. I didn't see my bed.
Last night, the front ambulance was up all night long. I was on the engine, so I didn't have to run the calls. But rest assured, I woke up every time that thing went off. So I'm not sleeping either. And then it takes a while to get back to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just you come home dog tired. You got to do the parenting thing or whatever the case may be. There's always something going on. Or you're working 2 or 3 extra jobs. And it all catches up. And for me, I've had a pretty blessed career of having a permanent spot for well over half of my 18 years in a city firehouse, which is busy. We're just always out the door. And I think that's where everybody strives to be. I don't know how I've been so lucky to be there for this long. I'm not complaining, but it does take its toll. I can feel it.
Yeah.
I always say that this job ages you like an NFL running back. It does. Just the wear and tear that body goes through from constantly pushing it up the middle is what we do to our bodies.
Yeah.
Especially at busy firehouses where those bells do go off all the time and it's not restful. And it does jolt you. Even when you're walking around. Thankfully, they've done a lot to combat that in the last few years. At least in Frederick, our alert system is a lot more mellow now.
Oh
I
my
think
God,
they've
mine
caught
is
on.
not.
But yeah, for my first 10, 12 years, I was stationed at one station where I would walk around and anytime tones would go off, I would literally cringe or
Yeah.
literally take cover because I didn't know if that house alarm was going to go off
Yeah.
because it was so fucking loud for no
Yeah.
reason.
That's how where I'm stationed right now. It's ridiculously loud and shrill. It's like it's terrible. It's
It
really
does a
yeah.
number to your heart.
Yep.
I mean, I can still hear it to this day.
Especially if you're doing something and you kind of let your mind wander, so you're not really prepared for it, and then all of a sudden it's like
Yeah, and there's just no reason for that. Yeah, so they went through recently and redid a bunch of the alert systems, which has been great. It's a lot more mellow. It just gives you a nice little EMS response, fire response,
yeah.
box alarm response,
Or like cardiac arrest dispatch.
cardiac arrest.
Yeah.
Well, that's sad.
Yeah.
Don't sound so cardiac arrest. But these are good things that the job is doing for us. So they're taking some initiative too on their end, I think. I've noticed a lot of things um, taking place, such as the alert systems being revamped. Um, Mental health is now a priority. When I was hired, it was never a thing. You would never bring up you.
Oh yeah.
What they would tell you is you're gonna leave all your shit at the front door and you're gonna come to work. You're gonna leave all your home shit there.
And similarly, leave all your station shit at the station and go home. Yeah. Yeah.
And we don't want to hear about it. Everybody runs calls. Everybody runs bad calls. Mental health was not taken seriously in the fire service, and probably among all the first responder umbrella of jobs. I'm sure it was very similar in how blatantly disregarded it was, and so much to the point that it wasn't even a part of our insurance HMOs. Like you had to pay out of pocket for any kind of therapy, anything mental health related, which is now also taking a turn, which is kind of what I was getting at. We're seeing a lot more of that come into the forefront. There's podcasts now. We're doing a podcast right now on first responder mental health, and it's pretty cool to see. Now, a lot of that stems from my journey in life and my stint in rehab, but take passion where you can, and it helps keep me sober. So, what's wrong with that?
Yeah. And in doing stuff like this, we've also, I mean, I know I've seen a lot of people who are kind of coming out with their own stories and sharing what they've gone through, and you realize, wow, this is more people are affected by poor mental health in the fire service, and whether you cop, a firefighter, whatever the case may be, more people are affected by it than maybe we used to think.
In a job that probably needs an on-call therapist,
Yeah.
and always has needed that. I mean, it's no secret what we do.
Yeah.
If you've ever had to call an ambulance, even for something that might be considered minor, it's still a terrible day in your household.
Yeah.
And we walk into that on a constant basis.
Mm-hmm.
Not to mention all the stuff that we have touched on, that there are horrific things that we've seen. And what they're calling that now is secondary traumatic stress. I haven't heard this term before. We all know post-traumatic stress, and we all know that if you do 30 years of this job, you're certainly going to run one, maybe a bunch. You're at some point going to run something that's going to stick with you for the duration of your career and probably life. The smells, the sights, the sounds, all of the sensory items. I know I have a few that still pop in my head, even though I've worked through them at the rehab that I went to. We processed these calls, and I definitely don't carry them around, but I can still remember them.
Yeah.
It's just it's absolutely interesting to me that it was that mentality for so long. We're here to help. and we don't need help.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly it. Like you're the ones who are providing the help, so you're not going to be the ones to take it. And I think that's kind of the crux of it is it's the buildup of everything all at once. It's and going on these calls that can be challenging for a long period of time and then coming home and you've got all of this stuff, some of which in comparison to what you just saw feels trivial. But you
Mm-hmm.
can't treat it as it's trivial because to your significant other, this is important.
Yeah.
This is a huge deal. This was their day. So you come home and you take on the stress of home life,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't necessarily have that separation between the very different kind of stress and then home stress. You have life and death stress, and then you've got, the kid needs X and such.
Mm-hmm.
I've got to set up another appointment. I've got to make a vet appointment for the cat. I've got,
And all of this costs money.
and all of this costs money, so I've got to work more so that
Yeah.
I can, so it all comes together, and I think that's why a lot of people start dealing with really bad mental health, substance abuse issues, because you need some way to,
Make it fucking interesting.
yeah, like you need
That's all I was doing. Like,
yeah,
I mean, I did have an active addiction, but in my head at the time, I was just said, yeah, let's just why not make this a little bit more fun?
yeah.
Uh,
But also, how do I get from one day to the next
I mean, you're not gonna tell
without?
me. You're not. Nobody's gonna sit here and write in to the show. And now that I've said it, they will. But nobody's gonna say, "Man, I fucking love mowing the lawn." What wouldn't? Who wouldn't think that a beer might make that just a little bit more tolerable?
Yeah.
Being out in a 110-degree heat index, swatting bugs, weed whacking.
Yeah.
All right, so let me run through some self-care items that are the no-brainers. Like if you go to any Tom, Dick, or Harry therapist, they're gonna tell you this is how you take care of yourself and this is what you need to do. And then I'll try and come up with some things that I like that I find is might be more geared towards first responders or towards our job. And give me your thoughts.
Okay.
And then after that, if you have anything that I missed, throw it at me. However, obviously, the big ones are gonna be diet, exercise, meditation. Um, Actually, there is a cool one that does work. I'm not a huge fan of it, but I did it when I was at rehab. It was try something new, yoga, some sort of martial arts. They say is good. If you're not into that already, go try a kickboxing class and beat the hell out of somebody, or yeah, like yoga or something that is just outside of your comfort zone. I'm not very bendy.
I'm shocked.
And it hurts. But
I don't like yoga.
I can see the benefits of it.
For sure.
Relaxation techniques. They were actually kind of cool.
I know this is really weird, and this is like a weird thing about me, but I find silence to be very stressful. I can't. So
That's
like meditation.
again a testament to our lives.
Yeah,
In
no,
the
that's
fire
true.
service,
That's true. But
it's
like,
always loud. And if it's ever quiet, somebody will show up and just blare an air horn at you.
that's true. Oh no, yeah, but I can't. So like, meditation does not work for me because it just stresses me out that it's too silent. And now, especially, I'm even at home. I'm constantly thinking that a tone's gonna go off.
Yeah. I mean, I've never taken it home. When I'm home, I know I'm safe. Well, yeah. I mean, that's a good way to put it.
Although, have you ever been asleep at home and you wake up and think you had a call? Because I've done that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That goes with the whole sleep deprivation thing. You don't know where you are. You feel drunk.
Yep.
So those were, diet, exercise, family, support systems. These are all things that you're going to hear no matter what walk of life you're from. If you need help, reach out, build yourself a strong support network, and use it. It doesn't do you any good to put everything into place and then not pick up the phone or talk to your significant other or whatever you have set up in your life, siblings, um,
Your
moms,
friends,
dads,
yeah.
friends. If you don't utilize your support systems, then there's no real point in having a support system, is there?
Yeah, and if you don't, and to be honest, it's hard to find loyal people these days. So if there's nothing wrong with finding a support group or, you know, a hotline or like if you need it, there's nothing wrong with going somewhere else. It doesn't have to be,
Sure.
you know.
So those are all of the straight down the middle stuff, the stuff that you're going to hear anywhere. Now, things that I've found, and things that might be more geared for us. Uh, I've made it up. It's called sleep therapy. It's when I've had a stressful shift or I've been up half the night, and it. I get home and I mean the situation has to warrant it. We can't be uh going to Ocean City that day,
Yeah.
and you got to pack the van and go to the beach. Um, but I'll come home and I'll tell my wife it was a rough one, and she'll let me go up and knock off for like 2 solid hours.
God, I'm
She,
jealous of that. I can't do
she'll
that.
get the kids taken care of on the bus, all of that, and I can go up and take a snooze just so I can catch up a little bit because like I said earlier, I do have a mounting sleep debt that you really can't do much for in this line of work.
Yeah.
But it is nice to come home and be out of the environment where sleep is so stressful because you can get called to service at any moment, or you're on a piece that doesn't get called to service all night, but the other one does,
Does,
and
yeah.
you're up all night anyway. So yeah, you get out of that environment. I've been doing it for a long time. I get up at 5 in the morning, wait for my relief. I go home and I essentially hit the snooze button, go back to sleep, get 2 hours of restful sleep. I'm able to do that because I do it so early, like five. I'll be home by 5:30, so that I can. I'm not really sleeping in till
Yeah.
like noon or some shit. Like 5:30 to 8:30 is enough to make me active in the day.
Yeah.
Like, cause one thing that my wife did see, and I felt it too, in between my eight 9 years that I did at Station 3 downtown, which is a busy firehouse. Before I went to a busier firehouse, Station 1, I did 10 months in a station out in Middletown. Just this 10-month period of like purgatory where we didn't hardly run any calls. It wasn't a very busy station. They didn't go anywhere. But damn it, if I didn't come home rested, relaxed, I wasn't a piece of junk for my first 24 hours off of the 48 off. Like, because it does, some days it takes a day to recover.
Yeah, and especially if you've been busy or you've done a 36 or 48 or more, whatever the case may be, like, or even just a busy 24. I feel like you're a zombie the next day.
Yeah,
Like you're
you
not
are
even fully
100%.
there. Like you're just kind of like half awake,
Enough
just from.
that my wife did notice that you are much more rested at this firehouse.
I bet
And,
she wanted you to stay there a little
well, I did too, kind of.
bit.
Like, as soon as I got there, I put in my transfer paperwork to go back to the city because I wasn't done there yet. And if I can get back, I'm going to do it. I'm still young and dumb. And this is, but 6 months down the line, 7 months, I'm sorry, 7 months down the line, the transfer came through. I got to go back to the city. I'm going to a busier station. And um, at that point in time, I was like, well, I kind of got used to it here, and I feel pretty good. So it is 100%. I saw it. I was a different person. I was more rested, and I feel like I was more present in the moments that I'm at home because of that.
Yeah, and that's another thing too is it's hard to be present when you're that.
You can't.
Yeah.
It's impossible.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that I suggest. If it
Sleep therapy.
sleep therapy, it's a great thing. If first responders can tack onto that, and make this an actual thing. Um, but you also got to look at life outside of the job. I learned that, and we talk about it too. Like you can't come home and act like you're at the station. You have like
Yeah.
we did mention it in this episode alone. You come home, you're dad, you're Tim, or you're Elaina, or Betty, or
Mama.
mom. Yeah,
Mama.
it's not. It's not. It's a whole different lifestyle.
Yeah.
So it's turning that you got to have life beyond the job, and you have to do things to allow yourself that space from home and work, like the separation of church and state.
And that's
You
actually
have to,
something we're going to talk about next time with a guest. We have our first guest next time. But yeah, we're going to talk about that exact thing is how to, being a parent
yeah,
and, getting off the clock and being a parent and
it
putting
is.
on a completely different.
It's a whole episode.
Yeah.
I need a little separation. I'm here to give you my 110% for this 24 hours. Then when I go home, that's my time. That's my kids' time.
Yeah.
And that's my wife's time with me. And I feel like you definitely need to set the boundaries there if your situation warrants some change.
Yeah.
And the last thing that I like, support services. The fire department, I've learned as a whole. Well, first of all, every job has what's called EAP or some form of EAP where they offer mental health services to domestic violence situations
Yeah.
to they have them readily available. Are they always the best? No, because it's something that they're forced to provide. So it's just a box that they check normally, and you're not getting the best care and or service that you could. But it is a service provided, and it is a stepping stone. You can utilize those services to find other services, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I'll probably tell you about 150 times on this show. You got to shop your therapist. You do.
Yeah.
You have to shop your therapist, and that is so important. And it does play into the first responder role because, like we were talking about, you just can't explain for a half an hour what it is that you're talking about or what it is that we do for a living because that's money, that's time, that's 30 minutes that you're not getting any counseling or therapy, and uh, in the end, you're not doing yourself any uh, justice there. Shop with yourself a therapist that works with you, that feels good, that allows you to feel like you're heard,
Yeah.
and that
Not
you have
judged.
a great relationship with.
Yeah.
It should be like dating.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that was my 3 or 4 things for first responders. What are your thoughts?
No, I definitely agree with all that. I think that there's a lot that might seem, some of it is not necessarily feasible for everybody. Like I know for a fact I can't come home and go to sleep because my child runs upstairs and says, "Mama, Mama," and he's right next to the bed immediately, wanting to be held. And there's nothing that I'd rather do, honestly, than
Sure.
spend time with him. So if I got to choose between sleeping and
You
playing
can't
with him,
sneak in the back door and say,
I
just
wish.
hold him off for 2 minutes.
I wish. But I think it's not necessarily feasible for everyone, all of them, but that doesn't mean that some of them are not, possible for everybody. You can find a way to prioritize your self-care. It just has to match your schedule and your way of life, but
Sure.
you have to find a it's crucial to find a way to do it.
It's like we said. I'm just offering tools for your
Yeah.
toolbox. If it works for you, great. If it doesn't, there's other things out there,
But
and we can
yeah.
certainly help in finding those things.
But I want to. I think another thing we can talk about maybe in the episode after next, because I think it's really important too, as you mentioned. When you come home, your husband, your father, those roles.
My husband.
You
listening.
are. But I think a lot of times it's very easy to forget, especially as it relates to self-care, that you are an individual too.
Mm-hmm.
And so you go home and you're like, okay, now it's, especially for me, now I'm mom. Now I have to
Mm-hmm.
make the grocery list, grocery shopping, and make sure everything is done, and do the laundry, and take my son wherever he wants to go, and do all this stuff, and get his school stuff ready. Um and I really, it's very easy to forget that I'm a person
Yeah.
beyond that. And so I think that's something that we definitely can, that's a whole episode worth right
Sure.
there.
And I've mentioned that to your point, uh, that was probably the most successful time that I very recently have ever been able to do a check-in with myself. Granted, I did have a little help from the wife. She did point out that something was up, as she will, and she does very well, and I'm glad for that, and I'm grateful for that. However, I did take a minute to reflect, and I'm like, step 12 work. We've talked about it, how it's helping the other alcoholic and what have you, and I realized that I have been doing so much for others that I was actually neglecting myself, and the depression was seeping back into my
Yeah.
life,
Yeah.
and I had to make some changes. I had to take care of me,
Yeah.
and that's one of the biggest things that we need to learn as first responders is how to take off the fucking cape and take care of you.
Yeah.
Or if it helps you, put the cape on for yourself.
Yeah. No, that's a good point, because it's so easy to get lost in those different identities of being the helper.
I always have all the answers. People
Yeah.
call me for the answers.
Yeah.
Even if I don't know the answers, I fake it till I make it. You're going to be
Yeah.
just fine. Don't worry.
No, that's definitely
Let's take a
true.
ride. You don't look so hot. No, but yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. They call us for help. How dare we need help?
Yeah.
All right. That should about wrap up today. And as you were mentioning, next time we do have a guest. If you want to speak on that.
Yep. Next time we're going to have a special guest. Not going to say who it is yet. But we are going to have a special guest, and we're going to be talking about divorce. We're going to be talking, which all of us will have experience with.
Yes.
Everybody is going to have experience
with that. I don't know if you know this, but it's a very common thing in the fire service.
Extremely common.
Yes.
Yes. Very, very common. We're going to talk about divorce. We're going to talk about parenting as first responders. We're going to talk about identities as, people, parents, first responders, all that fun stuff. So we're really excited because it's our very first guest. So it's very exciting, and hopefully it's going to be the start of having a lot of guests in the future.
So I have a few things that we can post on the social media accounts if you would help me
to go
out
along
with
with the
that.
episodes. Yep.
Yeah, just mental health check-ins, and then some self-care items for first responders specifically.
If you are a nurse, a police officer, a firefighter, you're in the army, whatever the case may be, a dispatcher, whatever the case may be, if you're in any way a first responder, we would love to hear from you, whether you want to be on the show, you want us to talk about something in particular. Just feel free to shoot us an email at thebunkroomchatspodcast@gmail.com. You can also find us on Instagram at thebunkroomchatspodcast.
X, Facebook, Insta,
we're on all the things.
Threads.
We're on all the things. But yeah, we'd love to hear from you, and hopefully this will be the start of a lot of guests, a lot of fun conversations.
There's plenty to be had for years and years of not having had them.
It's true.